Hi there, I'm Sylvia Plester-Silk, and 10 Minutes to Joy is your weekly invitation to reset, recharge, and rediscover your most joyful self through aha moments and simple energy techniques. Today, we're talking about the joy of sharing. About a week ago, my girlfriend texted me, "Did I want a zucchini?" She described said zucchini as a large zucchini. I had to correct her on her words. It was a gigantic zucchini. I was honored to get the gift, be it overwhelming. So, what do I do when I'm overwhelmed sometimes is I share. I shared with my neighbor who called me this morning and said that she had made the most delicious muffins with the zucchinis. Sometimes we forget the joy of sharing. I was doing some research for today's podcast, just trying to understand what exactly I was going to say and share. And I was looking at what are current concerns. And there's so much worry, heaviness, judgment out there that I admit, like the big zucchini, I got overwhelmed. And if I'm here trying to help you have more joy in your life and I'm getting overwhelmed, what does that mean? I think that what we give to others has more relevance and bearing than we realize. I was speaking with a girlfriend on the weekend who has chosen to travel to the US for very good reasons for herself. And a friend of theirs in their 60s or 70s said, "Well, if you're going to make that decision, then we can't be friends, unfriend me." We are in this very scary spot. And sometimes we are sharing things that aren't giving us joy, and most certainly are not giving the people that we're sharing with any joy. In fact, when we make those do this or else kind of statements, we're actually stealing joy, actively stealing joy. We're actively making the world a heavier, more tense place to be. We each individually need to make choices about what's okay for us and what's not okay for us. And we not need to honor each other that if you make that choice, that's okay. It's their choice, and they get to decide with their lives what's right for them. We don't have governing bodies over that, and we certainly shouldn't. So when we're talking about the joy of sharing, it's sharing those laughters, those light pieces. Maybe it's sharing a recipe. Recently, a friend created a Facebook page. She's an incredible baker and cook. It's Marion Cooks, if you want to follow it on Facebook. And she does this out of joy. She's sharing these delicious recipes. She's teaching people how to make things that are sauerkraut. Now, I don't like sauerkraut, and I'm still following her group. I'm taking what fits for me in what's being shared and accepting it with gratitude and letting go of the stuff that doesn't fit for me. I'm not judging her that she chose to make that. Lots of people love it. I personally don't. So when we're sharing, I think we need to be prudent in such an incredible time of stress, of heaviness, of mental health. How are we speaking with those we care about? There's a difference between a healthy boundary and trying to control somebody else's behavior and choices. How do we share the love? How do we share the celebrations? How to pick up the phone, text, messenger, whatever form your communication comes in, and spend time celebrating with somebody, something good that's happening in your life, something good that's happening in their lives. Let's get together in community. Earlier today, I was in community and it was powerful because before I went into community, I was feeling isolated and alone. And when I came off of that Zoom call an hour later, I was feeling empowered and connected. What we give one another, what we share, can have great impact. Sometimes it's sharing a vulnerable story and letting people know that you're feeling really vulnerable. And that is powerful. And sometimes it's sharing what's going well because it might create a space where other people have hope when their hope's been dashed and their life has been filled with worry. Sometimes it's sharing an ice cream cone, a zucchini, a special recipe, a secret that you have found really helpful around some aspect of your life. We need to be giving thought to what is it that I'm sharing and giving out? Yes, what do I need? And how do I take that back? And so much of what we share and give out sets the tone for how other people respect us. There's the law of reciprocity. Steve Lowell taught me this one, CSP, and he talked about when we give and when we're speaking, that's his expertise, when we're speaking and we're sharing with people, once people feel heard and understood, then they're more likely to reciprocate and give back or listen or tune in. So are we doing what I used to do and not love about myself? I used to call up a friend and say, and I talked about what wasn't going well in my life. I didn't even ask about her. Still embarrassed when I mentioned that. And then one day she very kindly shared that I was doing it, which was an incredible gift and a beautiful sharing because she did it from a place of love, not at all from judgment, just to help me fill in some of the blind spots in my life. And I like to think that I've stopped doing that. So there's so many ways that we can share that are life affirming, loving ways that can have truth in them. So it may be sharing a simple gesture, being patient in traffic and letting somebody pass, offering something if you have too much of something, sharing something that you have just in your heart to share. And sometimes if it's feedback, like my girlfriend gave me, asking asking for permission before you give that feedback can be uber powerful too. So pay attention. How are you sharing? What are you sharing? Are you sharing from a loving framework? Or are you putting out things anonymously on social media, even though your name's attached, in that place where you're being nasty? Because there's too much nastiness out there, and we do not need to share any more nastiness and judgment. Let's face it, folks, we self-judge, usually more than other people judge us. Let's be kind. Let us be aware of what we're sharing. How are we sharing this? Are we doing it from a place of love for humankind? Or are we doing it from a place of hurt, betrayal, etc.? Those places where we have patterns that need and deserve to be healed. So rather than hurting because we're hurt, do the healing work that you need to do so that you can be kind too. And I'm not talking about kindness that it takes you out and you're exhausted. I'm talking about just simply doing things in a way that works for you, that helps make your life brighter, because when we share, there's a synchronicity in the sharing, and there's a little bit of joy that we helped another person. So this week, I encourage you to be aware of what you're putting out there, how you're sharing, what you're sharing, and be more intentional about your sharing so that you too can experience that joy of sharing, like I received this morning when my neighbor called me and talked to me about her zucchini muffins, which were best dipped in a little bit of maple syrup if you want her secret. I hope that this has helped you do some personal reflection and bring more joy into our world because we much need it. It's a wrap for today. Small moments can create big changes. So keep growing, keep sharing, keep shining, and I'll see you next Friday on 10 Minutes to Joy.